This is my second video on the Amiga, and I'm starting it off with an unusual sight. I'm showing my CD player and a CD on the side. I'm recording this outside again, so if there's some cars driving by, that's life. I'm in my garage again. Got my camera on a tripod. So I've been wanting to listen to some CDs because every single time my friend and buddy Quinn makes a video about his Amiga, it reminds me of Joy Division. And last time I wanted to hear some CDs, but the CD player was dead. Well, not dead. It used to work, but it works again. So I cleaned the lens and now it works. So I'm going to listen to a Joy Division CD. This is a bootleg. It's a live show from, I guess, 1980 or so. Probably says when it's from. Let's check it out. It seems slightly ridiculous to not show an Amiga in an Amiga video. This is that same Amiga 1200 that I showed in my video that I uploaded last time, about a week ago. And there's the Joy Division CD above. It's got a cool little cover. Let's see if I can show anything about it that looks pretty interesting. This is the inside cover of the CD, and I'm going to show this because I love Joy Division, and maybe Quinn will appreciate this, and maybe some other Amiga fans will too. Looks pretty cool. That's the cover from what, Unknown Pleasures, I guess, and or the CD has the cover from Unknown Pleasures, and then on the side it has Ian Curtis speaking very closely into Mike, singing the lyrics from, I think, Dead Souls. Calling me, they keep calling me. And this is the back of the Joy Division CD. It's got two songs, or two shows. One is from Amsterdam from 1980, and the other is from Leeds in 1979. One of them has really terrible sound. I bought this in 2001 for 20 bucks while I was living in Venice, California, on the boardwalk in this little tiny store that was right off the boardwalk. One evening when my wife and I were walking around, I was like, what the heck is this? And that's what it turned out to be. Pretty cool CD. I'll be listening to this with my fixed up CD player while I'm making this video. Okay, what's going on here? There's still no Amiga. This is just a dirty garage, and it is a dirty garage. Got my garage door open. I live in the southwest area of the United States. Plenty of sunshine. Today is August 12th, 2020. I have a desk way back there. I want to clean it off and use it to put my Amigas on for a while I'm making these videos. See that desk? Well, this is the initiative I'm going to use to clean it up. I've got some Atari 8-bit items over there, TI-99, and a lot of TVs and various other things. Alright, let's explore it together. Okay, so I have zoomed in a little bit, and this is the area that I hope to be able to clean up to put the Amigas on. And I'm going to take some still photography as I take each item away. See what you think of that. Okay, it's about 5 to 10 minutes later, and I've removed all of the boxes that were on this table. If things went okay, then you saw me slowly removing them, and I think it took about 10 or 12 pictures to do that, maybe a little more. I'm going to zoom in and a little while and set up an Amiga on there. Unfortunately, for me, everything that was on that table isn't put away nicely. Like I said, it's only been 5 or 10 minutes. That stuff is all just sitting behind me, behind the camera right now. I guess I gotta figure out a place to put all that stuff. Probably should do that before I trip on something. Now, if I am using this table, I need to remove some of these other things here. I've got a couple of monitors, VGA monitors on the left-hand side. I've got a 19-inch TV in the middle under that table. Some various Atari items, Atari ST items, I think, and Atari 8-bit items in that box under the right. I've got a paper shredder. I've got a TV below me on the left-hand side. I've got another TV. Geez, I've got a lot of TVs, but you can't pass them up. I check on Craigslist, and sometimes they're free, and they got all the inputs I've been wanting. I stopped looking. My wife said it's time to stop, and I don't blame her. All right, I'm going to take some more still pictures and see what I can do with this area and give it some more place for my knees to go when I'm working on these Amigas out here in the garage. It looks like I've made quite a dent. I still have got a 19-inch TV under there and two 17-inch monitors. One of those monitors hums, so I probably need to get rid of it or, you know, fix it, but I probably will never fix it. The reason I keep two TVs around and these monitors is because they work really good with the Amiga 3000's flicker fixer. While the Amiga 3000's flicker fixer does work with flat screen LCD displays, it doesn't work nearly as well. If you've ever used a flicker fixer and you're not pleased with the display, go back and use a CRT display. You'll enjoy it much more. Let's see what else I can move around here and get set up, and so we can have a little workbench for our Amiga. It's come up elsewhere in this video, with a series of videos, that I live in New Mexico and it's really hot. This garage at about 6 p.m. is about 95 degrees probably. And I just want to say that because of that, I went and got myself a little beer. And someone might be thinking, this is the second time you've shown off a beer inside your video. Well, that's because I enjoy drinking local beers, and they're not giving me any money. I just like to drink them. This one's a Scotia from Bosque Brewing, also here in Albuquerque. This is an 8.4% alcohol, so it's pretty strong. I drink usually one of these, and that's it. If you enjoy a good Scotch ale, and try this one, it's pretty good. In fact, if someone leave a comment if you can actually get some of these beers outside of New Mexico or in your hometown. Alright, so let's see what I brought over here. I didn't really clean up any more, but I did bring over an Amiga 3000, only because I was talking about how the flicker fixer works pretty good with it. And what makes me sad is that it is awfully dirty, and we get sandstorms here in New Mexico, and when we do, we get dirt here in New Mexico. And you can't really tell. I'm not going to try to do what I do with my Amiga 1200, but this thing needs to be cleaned up, and probably the inside of this looks awful. Unlike in Quinn's video where he's been trying to fix battery issues, I'm hoping I don't have any, because I replaced the batteries on these 12 years ago. That's still a long time ago. But at the time, the battery hadn't had any problems, and it was, at that time, the batteries were, what, 17 years old probably. And so it's only been 12 years since I replaced this one, so hey, not bad. Let's zoom in on the picture of the Amiga 3000 logo, because I dig it. And it looks really sweet. This is my favorite looking Amiga. And I don't think they look any better than this. Look at that, Amiga 3000. This computer I think was about $3,000 when it came out. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Alright, let's swing this back a little bit. Let's look at the disk drive. The Amiga 3000 didn't have space for like a CD-ROM or internally, so you had space for 2 disk drives. That is it, which is kind of too bad. But I only ever used one internal disk drive on this thing, and I used an external CD-ROM back when I was using it. Alright, I'm going to pause here for a moment, and then I'll show you the back of the machine. Here is the back of my Amiga 3000. Haven't opened it up in years. The first thing you might notice if you're familiar with this machine is you're wondering, what the heck is the deal with this? Well, before I got this machine, it had a toaster. And if you're familiar with the toasters, when the Amiga 3000 came out, people were very unhappy because the toaster would actually not fit into the machine. And so this one was modified so that it could fit. I never owned a toaster. This was from the previous owner. So what have we got on the back of this machine? We have the port for the molar connector. We have the fan for the, well, not just the fan, the power supply. We have a 25-pin serial port, the floppy disk port for external floppy drives, for Amiga floppy drives. I actually think one time I was using the Amiga 5¼ floppy drive with this just to check it out, and it did work. I got one of those at a Goodwill years ago. This is a 25-pin parallel port. This is the 25-pin SCSI port. I've never made the mistake, nor have I met anyone who's made the mistake, But I've heard that there's people who've confused these, and I guess you could, because they look identical and it can mess up your machine. I've never done it myself. This is the 23-pin connector for an Amiga monitor that can sync down to 15 kilohertz. I guess all the Amiga monitors can sync down to that, but any monitor that can plug into here, although I think only Amiga monitors have 23 pins, any 15 hertz monitor can work with the Amiga if it can sync down that low. But you need an adapter. The special thing about the Amiga 3000, of course, is that it's the only Amiga that ever had a flicker fixer built in. As far as I'm aware, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a disable and enable switch for the flicker fixer. I've never noticed it making any difference whatsoever in the enable or the disable part. And finally, you have a left and right audio. This Amiga came with 4 megabytes, and when I got it used in about 95, 96, it had 4 megabytes in it. Within a year or two, I upgraded that to have 16 megabytes on the motherboard. And it's been years since I opened this, but since Quinn has been looking at his Amiga, I thought I would do that too. Alright, let's check out first the what this label says, do a close-up of it, and I'm curious what it says. Alright. Here is the back of the Amiga 3000 with the Commodore label. This obviously is an NTSC machine. It says it runs at 60 hertz, and it's made by Commodore. This is the 25 megahertz machine. I'm not sure what other CPU could go on the CPU slot, or excuse me, what the other standard speed was. I don't know if there was a 50 hertz machine or not. So let's zoom in and see if we can figure out anything from the label itself. Alright, we have a serial number of 4027, some FCC information, and just a plain old model 3000. I don't think there was any variants on the Amiga 3000. That's just, you got what you got. Alright, I'm kind of curious to open it up. I actually have some excitement going on, and it's my own machine. I just haven't opened it up since I think I changed the battery. But I have used the machine on and off here and there. Alright, what's inside? One great aspect of the Amiga 3000 is how easy it is to remove these two screws. They come off with just a few twists here and there. Alright, let's take off the first screw. They come off easily enough. Very, very easily. Pop right out of there. And first screw is done. Put them someplace nice and handy so you have it. You can even put a little cover on it so you don't lose your screws. And set. Alright, let's see what I can do next. Let me go and take off the next screws. You don't need to watch all that. Alright, I have managed to remove all the screws. I have something I did want to say here. So this is the right side if you're looking at the front of the Amiga 3000, and this is the mouse port and the joystick port and the keyboard port. I wanted to note that port 0 is for the mouse, of course. Port 1 is for the joystick, and of course either can be used for both, but most of the time you've got the mouse in that port, and it's almost always there. And I hardly ever have used port 1 for the mouse, although I have used it in a two-player game of Lemmings. Alright, so here we have the AT style port for the keyboard, which looks like you could plug in an AT keyboard, but you can't. So what you can plug in there is an Amiga 4000 keyboard if you have an adapter for AT style. And I'm only bringing that up because it seems like people think that the Amiga 4000 keyboards can only work with an Amiga 4000 or I think with the Amiga CD32. But if you were to take an Amiga 3000 or Amiga 3000 or an Amiga 2000 keyboard and plug it into a CD32 or the Amiga 4000, you would be, all you have to do is get a PC to AT adapter, or how does that work? AT to PS2 adapter, I think, maybe? Something like that. It's something simple. You used to be able to get them easily for $2 at any PC store, and it wasn't not just for Amigas. Anyway, just something to keep in mind. Because when I get up to the CD32, I will be using an adapter for the keyboard, but that's going to be a few videos away. Alright, let's open up this machine and see what it's got. Okay, everything on the Amiga that would require it to open is open. I've only opened it about 1 inch just to make sure I had everything clear. And let's open it up. I know this system makes a ton of noise when it opens. It's going to squeak. Okay, that's everything. Let me see if I can't set this down so it falls down and breaks. My friend's Amiga 2000, or his Amiga 2000 was pretty dirty inside. Mine doesn't look too dirty. What have we got in here? We have the power supply, which is one noisy son of a gun. I used to have a friend in the 90s, also named Adam, who would do some rendering of, I think he used Imagine. I can't remember, or maybe it was Lightwave 3D, I can't remember. And he would leave his Amiga 3000 on all night long, so it would render a scene or two, probably just one scene. And he said it would keep him awake because it was just so loud. If anyone knows of an alternative so you can get a quieter power supply in here, I would like to hear about it, because it would be good news for me. Alright, so what have we got? We have, of course, RAM, CPU, hard drive, floppy. I can't remember if I have I used to have a high-res floppy in here that could read the high-res floppy disk on the Amiga, but in fact I think it came standard with the Amiga 3000. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it died, and I think I replaced it with something else. Or maybe I do have the high-res, or the high-density floppy, but it doesn't matter. I mean, I used it just a handful of times. Most of the time I just used everything that was 880K formatted. So here we have I think it's a 100 megabyte SCSI drive, and it came out of a Macintosh. Probably this came out of a Quantum. Anyway, or maybe that's the model of the drive. But the original drive I had in here was, I think, also 100, but I think it died. But I used to work at a computer store called University Computers, and it had PCs, Macs, Amigas. They even used to repair Commodore 64s and stuff. That store went back to the early 1980s, but I worked there in the 90s. So there was all sorts of stuff. Quinn has been there back in the 90s. He will remember that place. So this is my boot drive, I believe. This is, and I bought this drive in used, and that was in, let's see, probably 1997. And this is a 2 gigabyte SCSI drive. It says tested good. It was used when I bought it. Tested good. And that was November 18th. I'm going to guess it was 97 or 98. I picked it up relatively cheaply, and it was originally, I think, used on someone's probably, I don't know, some kind of Mac that was brought in, and they traded it or whatever, or we bought it from them, and I put it in my Amiga. So having a 2 gigabyte drive on an Amiga in at that time period was pretty large. I think just a couple years before, my Amiga 1200 shipped with a 65 megabyte hard drive. Alright, so I'm going to pause this here for a minute again and show you some of the stuff on this side. First off, I want to say that making these videos is very good luck. For the last time I made an Amiga video, a week and a half or so, 2 weeks ago, it rained, and in New Mexico it hardly ever rains. And it looks like we're going to have a pretty good thunderstorm out there tonight, in which case we'll get a lot of wind and lightning, and the rain will pour down like crazy. So, what are we looking at side? This is our Amiga 3000. This is where you put in the Zorro cards. I said a little while ago, I think I said, that this was RAM. That's not the RAM. Or maybe it is, but it's not the 16 megabytes of RAM. Maybe it's the 2 megabytes of chip. I don't know. This is the battery that I have put in there 12 years ago, 13 years ago. It's been a long time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in and do a close-up of it from a different angle, see if it needs to be replaced. Probably, I mean, I already took a close look at it. I didn't see that it needs to be replaced, but maybe it does. Also, I think I might have called this the CPU. I don't think that is either. It's been a long time since I've opened up one of these Amigas. Man, I used to know these things so good when I was tech on them. But, man, it fades when you don't use it. Alright, let's move on. Alright, does that look like it needs to be replaced? Now that I'm looking at it through the lens, looks like it's got a little damage. I'm not quite sure. I'm curious to turn this Amiga on tonight, but it's probably not a wise choice. I'll do an even closer view and see if we can see any leakage. I can't see any with my naked eye. I don't really see any in the camera lens either. We'll see what I can find a little bit closer. Okay, this is my battery. And if you hear thunder in the background, because it's really looking like it's going to rain now. The battery looks okay. I'm trying to look at my solder job, and it's been It's been a while. I remember when I soldered this in, I don't know if Quinn remembers this, but he was actually, and I keep referring to Quinn, if you're not following along with this video, Quinn's a friend of mine from the 1990s who moved away, and we're still friends, we still talk on occasion, and he's making a video working on his Amiga 2000 that he brought out of storage that he got here, and I think I might have given it to him or sold it to him, I can't remember. Quinn, where'd you get that Amiga 2000? And I'm looking at my solder job here, and it looks, I guess it looks okay. I thought I'd tell a story about the first time I ever soldered in an Amiga battery, and it was in, I'd had previous soldering experience, but never an Amiga battery, and a customer brought in an Amiga 4000. He wanted the battery replaced, and my boss was like, "Can you replace that?" I'm like, "I think so," and I did. It wasn't any trouble, but I mean, at the time, an Amiga 4000, this was probably 98-ish, 98, 99, probably 98. They were pretty expensive machines, and they're still expensive machines, but you know, I was able to do it without any trouble, and I was glad I learned a little skill, and was able to bring it forward a few years later to replace the battery on my own Amiga. Here is the opposite end of the barrel battery, and it looks okay to me. I might not actually replace it. It doesn't look like there's any damage around it. It looks, oh, maybe there's some leakage. I don't know. I'll have to take a magnifying glass to it and check it out a little bit better. I was mentioning to Quinn that that's a really good idea to have one of those, but it also requires me to get my reading glasses because I am now 47 years old, and these eyes are getting weary. What's this? Another beer? Yep, beer break. This one's also from New Mexico. This is Santa Fe Brewing Company. It's one of my favorite local beers. They don't use wheat in their beer, so if you are gluten intolerant, like my wife is, you can drink their beer without any problems. Is there anything wrong with this picture? Yes, I have a beer next to an Amiga. I have an Amiga open. I should not be doing that. In which case, I will be taking this beer away. Okay. Amiga, are you happy and safe now? Oh, yes I am. Alright, let's check out some other things about the Amiga. I think I'm going to try, without taking the chassis off, taking a look at the RAM. Okay, now this is a really, really terrible shot. But really it's not. So, this is the RAM. This is, if I'm looking to the right side of the Amiga as I'm looking to the front of it, this is, over here we have the keyboard, the mouse port, and inside here, right here, there are 32 chips, and that represents, I think I guess each chip must be 512K, and I believe the kind of RAM it's called is called zip RAM, something like that. And I bought, it came with 4 megs in this one, and I had to buy some more to bring it up to 16K, which I did, not 16K, that's what happens when you mess around with Ataris too much, to bring it up to 16 megabytes. So if I have 32 in there, and there was what, I think I had to buy 24 chips, something like that, in order to get it in. And to insert all these chips, man, what a pain they were. If you ever get a chance to look at what that kind of RAM looks like, check it out. It's not easy to put in. I believe it's not like a SIM chip, which is on a card. Each one of these had like 8 or 12, maybe 16 pins, and you have to insert them into sockets. And when I was all done, it didn't boot. Of course, it was just one of the pins didn't go into one of the sockets, and I looked and looked and looked and couldn't find it. Eventually I took out each one, inserted it, took out each one, I found it, and I put it in, and then it booted right up. But for a minute there, back in 98 or so, I thought I might have screwed up my Amiga 3000, but it was just a little technical glitch. Happens all the time. I remembered I said I was going to do one other thing with this battery, and that was to check it out. I have my glasses on, so I actually can see my screen on my phone, or excuse me, not my phone, on my camera pretty easily now. I've got out a trusty magnifying glass. Does it magnify? I don't know if you can see it magnifying here. I guess you can, a little bit. But that's not important if it magnifies for the camera. I want it to magnify for my eyes, so I'm going to check it out. I've already cheated and taken a look here, and I didn't see anything, but I'm going to look one more time under the camera's gaze and see what I can see. It's a little dark. If I had more light, that'd be handy. Who soldered this? That's the best soldering job I've seen in my entire life. Alright, yeah, I do need a tiny bit more light. If anyone knows if I should check the bottom of this PCB to know if it can leak underneath, I would guess I would see it on the top, but let me know, because I just don't know. I think I have another magnifying glass I'm going to use, if I can find it, to look at this with a little more light. I thought it was about time to show you my little setup. I did clean the desk. I did clean the outside of the Amiga 3000 case. I did find my second magnifying glass. On the bottom of this is a light, and it takes 2 AA batteries. It's not even an LED, it's actually a bulb. But when I turn it on, bam, it doesn't look like it gives off much light, and probably would work better as an LED, but it works good enough. Most important thing for me to be using right now are my glasses. So let's put these on and take a look at the battery. Alright, so if my big head gets in the way, it's kind of on purpose because I want to show that I'm actually examining this. Yeah, this looks nice. It doesn't look like anything's on it at all. I can see a little bit of flux that I used from when I was soldering this in. Not nearly as nice as it would have looked as it came from the factory, but good enough. Good enough. Alright, so I was thinking about doing a couple of other things before I try turning this thing on. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do that tonight because we may have some company tonight. Once in a while we have some friends hang out in the front yard. And my wife was asking if they could come over, and maybe I'll hang out with them. We'll see what happens. Once again, here's my Amiga, and this 3000 has been put back together. Lovely little machine. I was saying we might have some friends over. Still don't know if that's going to happen, but I thought what I might do in the meantime is take a look through some of my Amiga boxes, because there is some things I need to find. For instance, I need to find some cables for the monitor. I need to find the mouse. I need to find, I don't know if I need to really deal with any floppy disks. And I can't remember if when I lent this to my friend, or I actually gave it to him, I might have flattened my hard disk. So this might actually be just like an empty hard disk. Or maybe I gave it to him full of files. I can't remember. I would like to boot this up tonight, but then again, I don't want to push it. And it's not too late. It hasn't been taking me too long to make this video. I've been sort of working my way through this, and I had this in my head what I wanted to do. It is hotter than heck out here. It still sounds like it's going to have a big thunderstorm. I hope you're enjoying this video. It's my second one. I want to thank Quinn for spurring me on to make this other one. He sent me a text message this morning that said something along the lines of he made a second video. He uploaded it last night or early this morning, and it was my turn to send a volley back, and that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So thanks, Quinn, for inspiring me for this one. Alright, hope everyone's enjoyed it.